Guys, welcome back to another video. Today it's a bit gloomy, but I am in a great mood because Ray sent me these beautiful flowers for our anniversary. Our anniversary was actually on Tuesday, and he's been surprising me every day, and these just came to the store, so it makes the day a little bit brighter, and they smell really pretty. We are actually going to be doing a video today on how to open a retail store in 2020, and I know we've already done one previously, but we definitely want to revamp it. We feel like we are in the position, a better position now, where we know more about, you know, business and opening a store and all the tips and tricks that you should know prior that we didn't know before. So that's why we decided that we wanted to redo the video and just kind of fill you in on all the new information that wasn't in our last video. New to our channel, my name's Felicia and my husband is Ray, which you'll see him in a little bit in the video. We opened our market about 3 years ago, and it's pretty much been him and I running it this whole time, with the help of family, and it's been a very good experience and adventure all in one. Definitely a little bit stressful at times, but worth it in the end. We have never had any business experience prior to this, so we started this business on our own, from the ground up. What you see here, we did majority of the work. Our landlord took care of the drywall and the bathroom, and we did all the rest on our own. And I can tell you, like, we really built it up from the ground, and he's sneaking in now. Hello, this is Ray.
What's the video about?
How to open a retail store.
Didn't we do that about 2 years ago?
Yeah, but we're revamping it because we're more experienced and more mature.
So you're making a video about a video that you made 2 years ago?
Yeah.
About a better version of it?
Yeah.
I get it.
With more tips and tricks and more things you need to know.
You got
that
more,
we didn't know.
You got more experience under your belt, so it's time to really show them the ropes of what to expect.
Yes. I showed them your pretty flowers.
Nice. Like this video.
I think in our original video, the first point that we made was getting your finances in order, and that is very important, but that is not going to be my first point during this video. I will talk about that later. Hands down, the most important thing about opening a store is location, and I mean location. It is the most important thing. You need to make sure that you have a lot of traffic. When you're picking out a spot for your store, make sure to, like, you know, scope out the area quite a bit before signing a lease. Make sure that you are getting a lot of traffic. You want to make sure that there's a parking lot. You want to make sure that there's access to the building from both sides of the road. Do not cheap out on rent, because you know, let's say a landlord has, you know, one building and it's like $4,000 a month, and then he has another one where there's only access on one side of the road for, you know, $3,500. Do not pick the cheaper spot just because of an error of road access. Don't be afraid to stake out your location. Of course, I mean that in like a non-creepy way, but you want to be able to go there at different times on different days to see how busy the area is. You definitely want to make sure that there's foot traffic. See what other businesses are around where you're looking, and definitely try to see how much, like, just how the traffic is around that spot. I know I just talked in a little bit of a circle, but foot traffic is very important, because if there's people that are walking around to the other businesses, they'll most likely come to you, especially if they, you know, don't have a car, or they don't have, you know, their own way of transportation. They will definitely come to you, especially if there is surrounding businesses that can support yours.
You know what you're saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm very good at it.
Okay.
So for our business, we are actually surrounded in like a little bit of a plaza. So we have like a flower shop, a meat shop, a hardware store. So it's a very like walkable plaza, and there is a lot of foot traffic as well as a lot of, you know, car traffic, but that doesn't always mean that they are coming to you. Wow. Even some
So, what everyone always wants to hear or not hear about is the investment it takes to start a small business. I'm telling you, you're going to need some serious cash if you really want to do this right. Unfortunately, you may have to get a loan, or you may have to, get some love money from family and friends, but you will need a good amount of money to start and start it right. What we started with was a shoestring budget, and we grew from there. That's a lot harder to start because I'm telling you, when people walked into our store at first, we've had very, very little inventory, and we lost a lot of customers with a first impression that kind of looked like, it wasn't really worth it to come into the store. There wasn't a lot of products. In North America, or maybe it's a trend around the world now, when people walk into a retail store, they need to feel like it's full, there's variety, there's selection, that it's worth their time to come in and come back. That's the main thing you want as a regular customer, and the inventory you have and the selection you have is very, very important to keeping a regular customer, because they need to come in and they need to find their stuff. After a few times where you keep saying, no, I don't have this, I don't have that, people will eventually stop coming. So that's why I really, really stress a investment if you're opening a retail store to be a little bit generous, because you really want to have enough inventory to keep those customers coming back. Whether you start in a smaller space or a huge space is your choice. I'm just saying keep the money flowing for inventory, because that's all retail is all inventory flowing in and out, and hopefully you're making a profit on that inventory. And essentially, and it's always the kind of end game, is the more you have, the more you sell, right?
Is having great customer service, and I'm not trying to blow sunshine up my own butt, but I feel like I actually have mastered it. I have worked in retail for a long time, probably since I was my first job. I was 15 when I got my first job, so I've had a few jobs in between since now and then, and I can honestly say you have to be very nice to your customers. And I've given great customer service, but I've also received very crappy service at certain places, and I know as a customer of those places, the way that I was treated just completely turned me off from going there, and I never stepped foot back at those places again. Make sure that you are very inviting when customers walk into your store. Typically, I always greet everybody with just, a sweet hello, or hi, how are you? I have really gotten to know my customers over the last 3 years. I know a lot of customers by name, and I do generally talk to them when I do cash them out. Ray actually does laugh at me sometimes because he says that I have become like a therapist to some of our customers, which I honestly don't mind. It's nice to get to know people, and it's nice to know that they trust me as well, and that is like a customer that will always be a customer of our store, because they trust us and they just feel very comfortable in our store. So there is a difference though between being nice and being firm, and you definitely have to have that balance as well. I've had customers that aren't really regulars, but they do try to do little sneaky things, like try to return items that we don't even actually sell here, and they demand their money back. And of course you have to stay firm and be nice at the same time, but be firm and be like, I don't actually sell this here, so you will not be getting your money back at my store. You'll have to go to the store that you actually got it from to try and return it. I think having been on both sides of the spectrum, working in retail and being treated like garbage going into a place, has really made me realize how to have an whole overall good customer experience while in our store. I've been to local places in our city that I've wanted to support, but the customer service was so awful that I literally just couldn't go back. You don't need to be rude to your customers. You don't need to make them feel like they're intruding, or just make them feel like they're out of place. Oh, you actually scared me. But yeah, having good customer service is key, and people will remember it.
It's a very rainy day today, and I'm kind of in a down mood, but when someone comes in, it's like, how's it going? How can I help you?
No, not at all. Not that.
Felicia takes care of all the you know, customer service around here. I'm more of like the grunt work, lifting, like look at this. Wow. Yeah. That's all the grunt work around here.
Yeah. Okay.
So in this type of business, it's constant improvement. You're constantly revamping shelves, buying better, you know, coolers, buying better inventory. You're always reinvesting. So this is why I want this step to be constant improvement, just like any business, but this one you can physically see growing and, well, costing you money, because I'm telling you, these coolers, we started off very, very old with old ones. Now we moved up to some better ones. That costed money. It just kind of never really ends. You're always growing, reinvesting, and buying more and more inventory that works for your store. And once you stop, I think the store can become stagnant. Your regular customers aren't as excited because you don't have as many new items. So that's why I'm always saying constant improvement is key. So about 80% of all this stuff was added after the fact. After, you know, constant improvement and reinvesting, you see a lot of this stuff here, and it's not what we opened with, which I wish we kind of did, but unfortunately we didn't have the funding, and we have to keep growing day by day and keep improving day by day. And I hope you catch the message that you constantly need to keep growing, and if you're not growing, you are dying. These shelves here were all added after the fact. This shelf here was added after. This shelf was added after. This we started with. So you can see the constant, you know, rearrangement and growth over even the time we've been making these videos. You know, it really never stopped growing. And it's kind of hard to picture that when you're here day by day. But when you look back, you can see how far you've come. So that's just one tip of advice I want to tell you guys. There's really never an end game here. You always want to keep growing and keep the exposure high for your store, and you shouldn't have a problem. There's going to be some days like today where you can't help and it's a little bit slower. On a Thursday in October, rainy day, there's going to be slower days, but you know, you're always growing in the long term, month by month or year by year, whatever you want to look at it. So over the last about 3 years, we learned that choosing your staff when you open a retail store is critical to your success. You want to find people who are dedicated to actually showing up for their shifts, aren't going to call in sick or, you know, start a lot of drama with others or steal from you. These are common sense items, but it's so critical to finding the right people, taking the time to actually look through resumes and interviewing these people with some questions that give you a good inside scoop of the type of the person they are. You know, I know most people are just going to be willing to just here to get a paycheck, but if you can find people that are dedicated to see the growth of your business, those are the key people that you want to keep. And if you have to pay them a little bit more to stick around instead of jumping from another job to job, that will really help benefit your business, even if you have to spend $1 or $2 more on them. It is very, very hard to come by good employees. So that's why I tell you to take the time to find the right people, because it will cost you more money by having to retrain or lose people, or perhaps not being able to have a fully functioning store because you're short-staffed all the time. So nowadays it's very hard to find employees. I wish you the best, because that may be one of your biggest struggles to opening your own retail store. Well, that's a tall angle here. Another very important thing to not forget about, especially when you're in one location, is to advertise to your local community. You never want to stop, because people will forget you week to week. And it's a very, very fickle industry out there for grocery or retail in general. There's so many different options. You want to be front and center almost every single day on people's Instagram, Facebook, you know, Twitter if you wanted to, radio, print. Use that all in a combination. I recommend social media now. It's free advertising, and you know, that's people are on their phone 24/7, so never stop advertising. So I hope you enjoyed our updated video on how to open a retail store in 2020. Of course, there's going to be so much more than this. There's going to be many different points that we haven't touched on, but these are the kind of 5 or 6, would you agree, that we think are really important?
Definitely.
Other than that, I wish you guys the best in your venture, and if you made it this far, please subscribe down below. We constantly make videos about once, twice a week, depending how busy we are with our store. Alright guys, have a great day. We love you. Stay safe. Enjoy everything else. I can never end the video.
You do great.